Montegrappa introduces the brain pens as a tribute to the efforts of neuroscientists all over the world from the past and present, and especially Italian ones. The hand has a larger representation in the brain than any other bodily organ because it's not only connected to the visual side, but it's also connected to touch. So while you're writing, you're forming the letters not only in your brain, but you're visually seeing as you're writing on the paper, and you receive a very specific feedback. Pen writing also reduces stress because speed is not the motivating factor, while keyboards don't help with that. A pen also reflects the emotions and feelings of a person because intense emotions cannot be fully expressed through a typed document, and only written words can do that. Pens also serve as important mementos of someone's lives. Think about all the moments you have to sign a very important document. You do it with your pen, your favorite pen, or a significant pen. When you're getting married, you sign with a pen. And when you want to think about your childhood, maybe you can find your old journals and still feel those emotions that you were feeling just because you see the way you wrote something. While you're writing with a pen, there's also a part that's connected to the aesthetic side of writing, that's calligraphy. And it's not only the calligraphy that's important, but also holding a very nice pen that's aesthetically pleasing starts a whole movement in your brain that's stimulating and that's healthy for your brain. And that's why Montegrappa has always kept that in mind when creating the brain pens. Montegrappa celebrated the research of Professor Richard Restak. He is a renowned neurologist who has spent a lifetime studying and mapping the function of the human brain. And his work has inspired 3 collections produced by Montegrappa: Brain, Memory, and Time and Brain. To create a pen that represents the complexities of the very organ it celebrates, Montegrappa's designers drew inspiration from the brain itself. There's an emblematic contrast in this pen. The top part of the pen is rich and elaborate, while the body is simple, acting as a parallel to a man's body, where all his riches are in the brain. Adorning the top of the cap is a cross-section of the brain, based on an ancient illustration. The cap features an overlay made of neurons, with the pocket clip representing the spinal cord. The clip has a spring-loaded mechanism, and its tip is lacquered in red or black to differentiate the fountain pen from the rollable. Etched into the nib is the image of a seahorse. This refers to the hippocampus, which is a major component of the brain of humans and other vertebrates. The memory pen is produced in pearlized yellow celluloid. Yellow was chosen because it is the color most associated throughout the ages with memory. On the pen's barrel are 3 seals of the memory created by Giordano Bruno. Triangular shapes are etched upon the circular metal parts, representing the writing of new memories, with the apex pointing downward, or the experiencing old memories, with the apex pointing upward. On the side of the barrel are 3 compartments representing the past, the present, and the future. The second, or middle compartment, represents the present, from which we look backward into the past. The first compartment proceeding upward from the nib by means of memory. Complementing this visual representation of memory is the pen's cap. Its 7 lower rings representing the average maximum number of items that can be stored in memory at one time. Above that are 5 thinner rings to denote the 5 basic senses upon which all memories are created. Shaped in the form of a seahorse, the pocket clip represents the hippocampus and the amygdala, 2 structures important in the initial stages of memory formation. A seahorse is also etched on a nib, just like the brain pen. For the 3rd limited edition in this series, Montegrappa has tackled the subject of time and brain. The cap top is fitted with a fully functional mini clock with the 2-handed analog display that has provided men with instantly recognizable time readings for centuries. The watch movement is super accurate quartz, while the signature clip is cast as a clock pendulum. Decorating the sterling silver cap is low relief engraving with stylized decoration of the cerebral organ. A series of details symbolizing Professor Restak's research are presenting in the precious metal through the etchings. Along the y-axis are representation of multiple clock principles with images of 4 different clock types in a vertical array bisected by the brain. A series of Roman numerals are dividing the hemispheres of the pen's barrel. The observer's view is drawn to the barrel end, where a functioning mini hourglass is encapsulated. The blind end is engraved with representation of 4 significant concepts: time, atoms, brain, thought. Lastly, the nib of the fountain pen is engraved with a brain blending into a clock dial. The nib holder is engraved with a texture to represent the physical surfaces of the brain.